Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Time for a second game of the second series of the day here in the NA semi-finals for ESL One Genting. My name is Dragondrop, still joined by Skim and, well, Immortals versus VGJ. That is our matchup. Immortals with the upper hand in the last game. So what can VGJ Storm do differently here?
That's a good question. I think they just, I mean, obviously depending on the draft, but I don't think you can give your opponents as much of free space and sort of, you know, farm in the early stages as we saw in the last game. I feel like VGJ was just a little bit too passive considering their lineup, and they couldn't really afford to be that passive because their lineup in the mid-game sort of, I mean, yeah, they have a mid-game lineup, you know, with CK, Brewmaster, Sand King, AA, but at the same time, you kind of want a bit of a good start to be able to snowball into that mid-game aggression in the first place, so... Yeah. Potentially just looking at those lanes and just trying to draft something that is definitely going to be very solid. Not that the draft wasn't solid, I just felt like they just didn't play around it properly. That's
the thing. I mean, every lineup has an early game, but not every lineup necessarily has the mid game that they want, right? So that's
pretty much.
Yeah, that was certainly something that VGJ Storm had to realize the hard way. But now Immortals goes straight back for the Elder Titan first pick, so really valuing this hero extremely highly, and well, for good reason. If you saw the last game, there's a lot of things that he can do, but we have seen in these qualifiers, like in these other regions where he's been picked up, he can also kind of fall flat if you don't combo him up with the right lineup.
For sure. We've definitely seen a lot of games where Elder Titan can just feel like he doesn't contribute much, right? I think in the last game, one of the reasons why he was able to shine as bright as he did was just because they had heroes to sort of combo it up with, but also because the enemies didn't really find the right way to punish him. And this game, there's potential for the Elder Titan already to be not necessarily useless, but, you know, less useful. I mean, we did highlight in the Complexity series earlier today that Elder Titan versus Strength heroes obviously doesn't, you know, remove the bonus armor that they get from all their bonus items. So potentially in the late game, this is where, you know, Immortals might, or well, the Elder Titan at least might fall off. And Death Prophet, I haven't seen that hero in a while, but it is in a, not necessarily an Immortals special, but I know that, you know, when they first grouped back together, that it was definitely one of the heroes that they looked towards in the early stages of the draft.
Well,
10 seconds remaining.
I actually kind of like this hero, right? It's a lot that you can do. You
5 seconds remaining.
You create these kind of situations where you like end up drafting or like playing a team fight around that hero. Where that's the center of attention, right? And you can do a lot with that, I feel like. And yeah, not to mention all the nuking power that it gives you, right? The pushing power from the exorcism. Not to mention the Roche potential. It just ticks a lot of these boxes that are pretty important these days in Dota. So
definitely. One concern is though that, of course, Death Prophet has a long cooldown on her ultimate, and she's very much ultimate reliant. Something that we highlighted in the earlier or in the first game, that is a weakness of the Brewmaster, and it's very much a weakness of the Death Prophet as well. So going forward, this is something that VGJ could potentially look to exploit. You know, when the ultimate is down, look for those fights, look for those pushes, look for those engagements, making sure to punish whenever Immortals have that ultimate on cooldown, that they are able to take objectives out of it. And right now, with the Tiny, they at least have one hero to be able to take those towers. The question is, are they going to have more? Because I believe they do. And also they need more, just in general, more fighting power, because Death Prophet is quite a tanky hero. Elder Titan also not the squishiest hero either, so ideally something that can follow up onto the Sand King initiation.
Well, still early in the draft here. They're taking some time to think about their strategy in their next ban. So far it's been pretty standard, right? I mean, Razorban this time, but still the Undying, still the Night Stalker, and now the Medusa. I mean, it's... when it's not banned in the second phase, I feel like it's almost always picked up throughout all regions in Dota. It at least feels like it to me. I've seen it here so often as that core role. Mostly out of the mid lane, of course, but sometimes even out of the safe lane if necessity demands it.
It's just a very solid pickup, really. If you survive a certain amount of time, the Medusa just makes it so that you always have a win condition, no matter how the game progresses. So in that sense, I think it makes a lot of sense to take out that hero. It's just a very annoying hero to deal with, and again,
10 seconds
it changes the way
remaining.
you approach the game because it puts you on a certain timer and it forces you in a certain
5
direction.
remaining.
You could make the argument that that's the case with every hard carry, and in a way it is, but
Dire
Medusa is a bit
team
of a
pick.
special one because she's very difficult to bring down. She's very tanky and she scales incredibly well, and she farms very rapidly as well, which is almost unparalleled at this
Radiant
stage.
team
Yeah.
pick.
You farm quickly without help, like that's probably one thing that's making it so crazy. Like other heroes have that farming potential, but normally they need 1 or 2 items to actually get to that point. With Medusa, you just need the levels on split shot and just a bit of right click damage. But
10
again,
seconds
not gonna have that this
remaining.
game. Instead, we see some more support picked up. Witch Doctor on one side here, VGJ Storm.
5
So it's
seconds
another one of
remaining.
these heroes that can turn and almost kill into a surefire kill with help of that Maledict's extremely powerful in the early game, especially if you combo that up with a lot of extra control and the burst damage from something like a Tiny.
Yeah, for sure. This is the kind of follow-up that I was looking for with the Sand King, of course. The physical damage output from the Witch Doctor is really high. Really good against the Death Prophet. Just in general, really good. But of course, that ultimate is very easy to steal for the Rubik. Rubik, yet again, a pretty good pick here. We did highlight the fact that Rubik can fall off as well, similar to the ET. And we've seen games definitely in SEA where Rubik felt almost useless in this entire game because he fell behind, and then afterwards it was just so difficult for him to get into the game, even with a couple of spells stolen. So this is definitely something that Immortals could look to exploit. But again, this dual combo, so the dual support combo, you know, it feels a little bit weak, but the question is, can VGJ Storm really punish it? Last game before the last game began, or after the draft, I thought to myself, hey, you know, VGJ Storm can be super aggressive here, and they can do this and that, but they really didn't.
Dire
So I'm
team
Yep.
pick.
curious if they are going to change that aspect now at all, or if they're just going to play passive again, because then this Immortals lineup can be very scary, because Rubik, you know, if he doesn't get pressured, again, we've seen what he can do if he has a bit of freedom. Z-Freak showed us what he can do with that hero, and
Oh, yeah.
I know that Immortals...
10
I believe this is a
seconds
Febby
remaining.
hero, actually. Actually, no, Febby played the ET, so it's probably going to be a Dubu hero, but
5
you know,
seconds
both of them
remaining.
really good players, so...
Well, I mean, VGJ Storm, they're certainly setting up to be a lot more aggressive, right? I mean, you don't pick a Witch Doctor necessarily these days to just sit in lane, babysit your hero, and just keep him topped up with the Voodoo Restoration, right? It's not really the way that heroes played right now. And Phantom Knight's also one of these heroes that doesn't necessarily need a whole lot to start having an impact damage-wise at the very least. It just depends on your Diffusal Blade timing, really. So... yeah, I can definitely see Immortals having some issues with that. But yeah, they're also taking some time to think about now. Alright, what's the best way to deal with this? Do we go more tanky? Do we just try to head them off? Do we play the map control game? Do we just pick up more push or split push? Like...
I think something like a puck
Yeah.
could really work well here. They need a little bit more control, and they currently don't have it from the supports. I mean, yeah, obviously they have the lift, they have the ET stomp, right? But I think they need something along the lines of, you know, silence, a little bit more AoE control.
Yeah.
And I do think that something like the puck could provide that. It's also fairly okay against the Phantom Lancer. The tankier those illusions become, obviously it's going to be much more difficult for the puck to actually deal with those. But in the early to mid game, you know, puck can still deal fairly well with those illusions. Can also itemize against it with a Shiva's Guard at some point. So there's
Radiant
ways to deal with
team
that.
back.
And it will also allow him to shut down the supports in a team fight, being able to jump the back lines and making sure those two supports, those very active supports that need to be able to be in the fight, being able to silence them up would be really big here. But Immortals going for a lone druid right now. I'm not sure how I feel about that, mostly because I think VGJ Storm have ways of
10
dealing with the bear.
seconds remaining.
And they also have ways of jumping the lone druid. They do have, you know, toss, they have
5 seconds
eventually the
remaining.
blink combo from the Sand King, and of course Phantom Rush is
Dire
also pretty
team
good against
back.
it.
even the Witch Doctor cast, like if you're not microing properly, if you just have both of these units right next to each other, then the cast can just screw over your entire day. If you're the lone druid, like on top of the Maledict and everything else, so it's gonna come down to that hero just being played very well.
10
and,
seconds remaining.
in terms of positioning, and just in terms of farming efficiently across the map,
5
because
seconds
eventually that
remaining.
can still be an issue. Because with the Death Prophet, you can kind of win
Dire
team
team
fights here
pick.
with the kind of supported cast that I have as well. And when you do, the lone druid will make sure that you will also take objectives very rapidly.
Yeah, that is definitely a big concern for VGJ Storm here, being able to, or the fact that the Immortals can take objectives as quickly as they can because they do have Death Prophet and Lone Druid. And right now, VGJ Storm,
10 seconds remaining.
when dealing with heavy push like that, the usually response is either being able to slow them
5
down, just
seconds
take
remaining.
fights or force fights or split push. But right now, their split push isn't that strong. It's just a tiny for now. So the last hero has to be either somebody that enables them in those team fights and maybe can begin a fight or divert the push, or just has strong split
Radiant
push
team
themselves.
pick.
The puck has been
Legion
banned, by the way,
Commander.
and again, I do think it would have been a good pick for Immortals, but for VGJ Storm right now, they need something that has deep push or split push themselves. I'm curious again, maybe an Underlord. Underlord, with the Firestorm is pretty good. To able to chip that
10
down, slow them
seconds
down,
remaining.
and that would enable the others to just come in and do their thing. So
5 seconds remaining.
something along those lines, at least.
Well, don't have a lot of time to decide here, and wasting. It's a
You
Tide
now
Hunter. I
select your
kind of had it in the
heroes.
back of my mind, but it doesn't really necessarily tick these boxes. They're just going all in on a team fight with that pick as well. So it's just like, hey, we don't really want to push. We just want to fight you when you come to us, and when we come to you, sort of here, the only initiation that they really have is the Sand King in terms of the Blink initiation, and Tiny, well, he'll build a Shadow Blade, right? Eventually Blink perhaps as well, so that's something from that.
So
But, yeah, mostly VGJ Storm, if they don't win team fights, the Immortals might just run away with it, with just getting more and more farm on their cores.
pretty much, in a way, yeah. Immortals, I really like that they went for the Legion Commander.
10
It kind of,
seconds
I think
remaining.
the only real issue they had in this lineup
5
really
seconds
was being able to
remaining.
deal with Phantom Lancer, and Legion Commander, of course, to a certain degree, does really well against Phantom Lancer. It does fall off, of course, again because overwhelming odds doesn't scale as well as the Phantom Lancer illusions do in the late game, right?
Yeah.
But
at
still,
the same time, like, it does help you always to find the real Phantom Lancer.
exactly.
And if you can get the Blink Duel off, then that just makes it so easy for the rest of your team to just barrel in onto that one Phantom Lancer 3-1, try and burst them down as quickly as you can, and well, then you cannot rely on his doppelganger or whatever, or his mobility to get himself out.
Exactly. Well, I kind of want to favor Immortals' lineup right now just because I think their push is just very consistent and very strong. Yeah, they're ultimate reliant, in, at least for the Death Prophet, but of course the Lone Druid is just a lot of like chip damage, right?
Yeah.
They also have ways of sort of securing the push with the ET Spirit. It's actually really strong, being able to scout the opponents in the tree lands potentially, and setting up for Stomp in case you need to retreat, or even for the fight, being able to set up the Death Prophet, just creating chaos really with the ET Stomp and the Earth Splitter, potentially even forcing the opponents to split in the fight and being able to, or being very uncoordinated. And on the Radiant side, I just don't really see, it feels like they're trying a little bit of everything without really having like that one punch. Yeah, they have a lot of team fight, but in a way, their initiation right now is very reliant on the Sand King and the Tide Hunter, both of which need a blink in order to initiate in the first place. You could toss them in, I guess, but that's also a very just cutesy kind of play that doesn't always work out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. And what do they do? What do they do when there's split push coming out, right? When there's split push coming out from the Bear, from the Death Prophet, it feels like right now they don't have the best ways of sort of initiating into that. But again, once those Blink Daggers come out, it's going to be much easier. But up until then, who knows what is what the enemies have in terms of items.
And I might just find themselves in a situation where they're forced to like bring one hero back to defend the push while you're like committed deep into enemy territory on the other side of the map, or maybe even two heroes. But then there's this danger of the Legion Commander just blinking in. Like, splitting your forces with a teamfight lineup is generally not what you want to do. So if Immortals can find a way to force that, then it's gonna have to work in their favor in some capacity. But, quick bathroom break still going on. But we'll be getting ready to go soon. Game number 2, Immortals won game 1, which means they're only one win away from punching their ticket to the grand finals up against Complexity. VGJ Storm, well, they have one more shot to prevent that and force a game 3.
It's worth noting again, we mentioned it before the first game began, that VGJ Storm have replaced their carry. They've already played with a stand-in at MDL Macau with KP from Newbie. They're currently using Ro4, who actually played Didn't he play mid lane for them in that last game?
He did play the OD, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, they replaced Ritsu. So this is worth noting because obviously, you know, a team that is just going through roster changes is bound to have a phase where they still need to find themselves. Up against a team of players that have played together for what, like 2 years effectively? Or some of them even longer, right? They've been playing for a pretty long time, and they know of each other for a long time, or for an even longer time. Makes it very difficult to compare to that, really.
Yeah.
And you could tell in the last game that just VP, almost called them MVP actually, that Immortals had much better coordination in the team fight. They always knew where to position themselves, and they were more in sync. Whereas VGJ Storm had felt a little bit not really in sync. You know, the CK, that one engagement where the CK just TP's top before any rotation from any other support really comes in. So in that sense, this is something to look out for, you know, potentially in team fights, that Immortals might just be with that one step ahead of them.
Yep. Alright, looks like we're ready to go. Again, if you guys are just shooting in game number 2, Immortals with the put on VGJ Storm on match point. And we're heading out. This Titan, like, I'm still not really convinced by this pick. Like, it could have been other options here that maybe fit the build better or that gave them what they're still lacking, but it can still work out. I mean, Ravage, sure, you're ultimate reliant, that's his one big problem, but at the same time, it's also his one big strength. A well-timed Ravage can just decide a team fight in and of itself. We'll see what they can do. For now, Immortals smoking up together as 5 all the way down at the bottom. Did he not summon this bear yet? Or am I just... Oh no, he's scouting ahead. Wait.
Would have been really weird not to summon it.
Yeah,
There's no point. There's no point in summoning it, in not summoning it early on, right?
Just put it on cooldown immediately, and it'll be absolutely fine.
So they dropped an early ward with that smoke
seconds
gank. Pretty standard as well. They're not going to find anyone because all of VGJ Storm have positioned themselves on the northern side of the map. This pretty much gives both teams 2 wards, 2 runes again. Very standard, really, in pro Dota.
Yeah, it's very rare these days. I mean, at the beginning of the patch, when they changed that, especially when they changed these rune spots to be so close to each other, we saw a lot of first blood engagements here happening around them because teams still wanted to go just to their side of the map as well. They get the one rune on top and the other one on the bottom, but now it's much more viable to just get the one on like the left or top left or the bottom right hand side of the map.
So this laning stage looks like they're moving the lanes around. So they want this Legion Commander in the mid lane up against the Phantom Lancer, and then they want the Death Prophet up against this Tiny in the bottom lane, it seems.
Yep.
Makes sense, honestly, because the Phantom Lancer, and I mean, this is something that Immortals should know because they are one of the first ones to sort of establish the Phantom Lancer, the pro meta in the mid lane back a couple of years ago. They know that the Phantom Lancer actually does decently well against this Death Prophet. But then again, you know, we have a dual lane in the mid lane anyway, so
yeah,
whatever.
Febby trying to do what he can. At the very least, he can keep the Sanking away. But now Burst Strike, he does get some help from Dubu in case he needs it. Punching pretty hard right now.
About now.
There it is. Not gonna bounce here. Dubu turning around. Should be all just fine. But Febby, well, with the Spirit coming back, he can start punching really, really hard, and that's exactly what he wants to do. Look at this, Sanking one. Another one here towards Sand King. And Burst Strike, Febby. Who will take the win here? And it is Febby who claims the first blood himself. This is good to be king. Very silly.
Mistake from the Sand King, actually. They could have killed him before they killed the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really commit heavily, didn't they?
Yeah, bit of a mistake there, giving away first blood like that. It's pretty funny, though. It's been a while since I've seen both supports just wasting each other's time like this. Usually, you know, they're wasting each other's time by being in lane, but this is just a really silly engagement. They might just get the Sand King here.
Yep. But coming back, will take like at least 2 punches, but Burst Strike out is always available. So instead, they go for the Witch Doctor, who doesn't really have the easiest way to protect himself.
This is so silly.
That's lonesome. Yeah, it's like we have like 2v2 jungle and the support, and then 3 solo lanes essentially.
Basically, yeah. Which makes a lot of sense because they want to give these cores solo lanes. Really, all of these 6 cores want to have solo lanes. They want solo experience.
Yes, Febby drops again.
Alright, that's pretty good for them then.
Just as he was left alone here, the buddy system has failed him. Dubu
God damn it,
Just
Dubu.
joining up at the top.
How dare you?
I know, right?
But I believe this was in part done, you know, to sort of look if he can just pull back the wave, because the Tidehunter has pulled the wave pretty far out, and being able to pull the wave back potentially, but the camp is blocked, so he decided otherwise.
Yeah. Making his way back towards mid. Where Phantom Lancer and Legion Commander doing extremely evenly here so far. 12 and 3 in both, but there's a few extra creeps here that Legion Commander hasn't had a chance to right-click just yet. So it might start to skew in their favor.
Now the supports start showing on the lane, so we have the ET bottom here, and then we Witch Doctor trying to go for his stack, but the ET smartly intervenes, so no stack arenas for you.
Yep.
And of course, this is something that both sides could really look towards. If the supports don't want to give their carry, or don't want to take a XP away from the carries, they can always just stack the camps. Both teams have heroes that can deal with those stacks. Right, well, on the Radiant side, we of course have the Tiny and the Tidehunter, and on the Dire side we have the Legion Commander, and technically speaking, Death Prophet also can take stacks.
Yeah. Takes a little bit longer, it's just realizing it's banging down with the Crypt Swarm, but it's definitely a possibility. I think it only gets really efficient when it's like a 3 strikes or something. But I haven't done the math on that. Alright, so far, I mean, beyond these shenanigans between the supports, these lanes themselves, they were pretty static and pretty calm, right? They're just trading farm, trading levels.
It's worth noting, though, of course, that the Radiant side are getting the better end of this trade. Yeah, Legion Commander is winning this mid lane, but again, to be expected. But the top lane, Tidehunter, is doing very, very well. Of course, Tidehunter in general is very hard to bully out of the lane. Can make it very difficult to farm with Anchor Smash.
Yep.
So you can tell that Little Druid is struggling a little bit. Bottom lane, though, I feel like this shouldn't be as one-sided as it is, and we do see the rotation now coming for the DP, so maybe they want to go for this kill here top. There's a Rubik here.
Yeah, there it is. They get the root even. Rubik is there, already used the lift. Tries to go for some extra body blocks. They need another root here, I think. Maybe not. Body blocks continuing here, and that'll be enough.
You could tell Death Prophet thought she was going to get the kill with just a Crypt Swarm, because she turned around, but didn't get it. All supports on the Radiant side once again kill the Elder Titan. I mean, I guess it's a trade, but it's not a good trade for sure. I feel like one of them could have TP top and just saved the Tidehunter, because the Tidehunter was wasting a lot of time.
Look at me, Legion Commander on the other side, so the wraparound will be there with another Maledict cast. This is a very damaging commander. You cannot coach it off here. You didn't even attempt it.
Alright, this is a better trade then.
Yep.
This is a much better trade. Legion Commander was, again, she was definitely winning that lane against the Phantom Lancer, so this gives the Phantom Lancer much needed space. And of course, a nice little net worth boost for both supports as well. This is the kind of rotations that I was looking forward to in the last game, between the AA and the Sand King. But this time around, with the Witch Doctor, much easier of course, and a little bit more damage as well with the Maledict. So nice rotations, and looks like they want to look towards this Lone Druid bottom here.
Yeah, they're not stopping. Lone Druid does get burst struck, cask bouncing between the bear, Maledict, Avalanche. Makes it very easy. The Stomp comes in, but it's not exactly the kind of spell that's extremely reliable to stop these kind of things. Especially not with the amount of damage that's already up and running just based on the levels and the spells.
I'll take that.
Also like the skill ability from Tiny. I mean, you might say out the Avalanche, so it's going closer towards this combo build. Because Avalanche, of course, does hit twice when you toss the target.
Very low. Do they have invis detection here? It doesn't seem like it.
It's next to the shrine, so this is Maledict.
Yeah, this
was
was
miscommunication.
This Legion Commander was kind of looking forward to potentially finding the first duel. This is of course something that they will have to be careful about.
Yeah.
But for now, Legion Commander just sitting in lane. Again, still outfarming the Phantom Lancer, even though the Phantom Lancer caught up because of that kill, of course.
Yeah.
We've also had a bit of a lane swap. Death Prophet TP top for that kill, but also stayed in lane. And just, you know, now farming against the Tidehunter.
Yeah.
A bit easier with the Spirit Siphon, of course, against the Tidehunter. Can't crack and shell that off, so just keep on sucking.
Certainly easier for DP than it is for the Lone Druid.
Oh, Ravage committed top lane for the Rubik.
Wow.
And that is a kill.
That came out of nowhere, alright.
Didn't need the burst strike. Ravage was enough. I almost think the Tidehunter could have gotten a solo kill there.
Yeah, I mean, better safe than sorry, right? And
True.
come in that Ravage, yeah, sure, it's a long cooldown, but this early on, you're not really going to expect any big team fights where you really need it anyway. So just putting it on the cooldown, making the most out of it, just means that you're quite efficient with that. But the cooldown economy, essentially, that's what it comes down to.
Oh, mid lane, Sand King misses the burst strike actually onto the Legion Commander. All right. Bottom lane, we have a bit of a stalemate here between both sides, really. Elder Titan and Rubik are just here to make sure that their carries don't die. Did I call him Rubik? It's Witch Doctor. My bad.
Yeah. Both have a staff.
Yeah. There's a little bit of kill potential here from the Radiant side. They could technically just jump the Elder Titan. Just gotta be a bit careful about the Savage Roar, of course.
Yeah.
But now with the Rubik, or not the Rubik, the Death Prophet. Why is Rubik on my mind coming in?
Are you just shifting Devos around by one portrait or something?
Basically.
Is that what's happening?
The Radiant are, of course, aware of this because they did see it with their own ward, which got dewarded. So, no kill.
Oh.
Savage? Why didn't he use the Savage Ward?
Just realized late, I think.
Yeah, it was a bit of a late call, yeah. So they're gonna trade tower for tower. This favors the Radiant. Their tower push isn't as strong as the Dire's, so getting this tower early on makes sure that, you know, there's a very favorable trade.
Also a little bit more spread out. I mean, Sand King is getting some levels in mid while the push to top is happening. So while that was a full 5-man rotation towards the bottom lane.
Yep.
So.
Oh, Tidehunter, what is he doing down here? Why did he... That's
he's getting duel, that's what he's doing. And he's even gonna lose that because of that extra damage from the exorcism. I did not expect that, to be quite honest with you.
I think they saw in their ward at the river that Rubik was retreating, and I believe somebody else showed. Was it the Elder Titan? Somebody showed there, and I think he just assumed, all right, maybe they're not committing to this push with all 5 people.
Something though, they toss up the Legion Commander up into the air, but it's actually time to win this fight here against Zion. No duel, they get some extra damage here, but get that one kill, trade it for the Phantom Lancer eventually, maybe? Maybe not, he just decides to get out of there.
That was like 3 to 4 really clutch moment of courage procs. That was really important. I feel like maybe they kill the Legion Commander if the Tiny accepts that he dies and just commits to it.
Yep.
But it's a difficult call to make of course.
What do you make of the skill build for the Phantom Lancer? Because normally you see still the max out Spirit Lance. I mean, I've seen the max out Phantom Rush here before the Doppelganger. But it's the first time I've seen only a single point into the nuke here by 10 minutes.
That's actually a really good point. I wonder if, you know, against the Legion Commander it's really difficult to zone her out of the lane with just a Phantom Lance in the first place. And you're also getting pushed in against the against the Legion Commander because of overwhelming odds. So I wonder if, you know, usually when you do have that Phantom Lance or Spirit Lance, you also have the bottle to back it up. But I guess because he doesn't have the rune control, he doesn't get a bottle, and he doesn't have one. Yeah. So building into the Phantom Lance wasn't really an option, and that's why he's, you know, going for the Phantom Rush. Allows him to harass with just illusions, and of course also, if it ever comes to a fight, being immobile like that is also not too bad, especially against the Lone Druid like we highlighted in the draft.
Well, flip side of that is it probably cost him kill up top, and that was a bit more nuke damage. Maybe you get the
oh, for sure, yeah. If that's a level 4 Phantom Lance, that's definitely a kill.
Well, can't have everything. And the game slowed down a little bit again after that. I mean, they still did a good amount of damage to the tower, actually. I mean, half health on this tier 2 top. And
they're still ahead in net worth.
Tier 2 bottom. Yeah. Still
ahead in net worth because that Tidehunter did really well in lane. And that's actually really important because even though he went for phase boots for whatever reason. Well, phase boots not bad, don't get me wrong. It's actually, you know, it's sort of the build that a lot of offlaners do when you're dominating a lane, you just go phase boots to even dominate it even more.
Yeah.
Something that a lot of people did on, you know, Nature's Prophet, Puck. On Tidehunter, the thing is, I feel like Gaudinger is just way too strong, and it's something that he should be building into, but I guess he's making the choice not to, with the phase boots already.
Yeah. And I guess, like, he's sort of fixing his mana issues with
mid lane.
Okay, yeah, he set the down on bottom while going in. Mid lane, the duel comes out, though, at the same time, then they win that 4v1. So 1-form trade across the map, but hey, that's an infinitely scaling carry on the side of Immortal.
Technically, yeah. Mid lane, they're going to commit the Exorcism for this tower push, and I don't think they can really contest this on the Radiant side because the Tidehunter wasn't really that... I mean, he doesn't have... Oh, now he has Ravage with the Shrine.
Radiant's middle tower.
Phantom Lancer will have to
That's
TP it.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Maybe they can just get the Legion Commander if she's being greedy a little bit.
Fortified.
Have the Gush to set it up.
Slowed down, cast, first strike. Yeah, that looks to be the case. Maybe not just yet here. Maybe with a bit of a turnaround, but it looks like all. Don't even care. Are you kidding? What? What? Alright, that just happened. I broke down there a little bit, but so did Immortals here. They're fighting another couple of heroes now with the follow-up there. The blink from Tiny coming in big on top of the first strike. With another blink from the Sand King. It's a full 5-man wipe.
Yep. That just happened.
was-
Phantom Lancer taking the tier 2 top as well.
Top tower has fallen.
I am just as stumped as you are.
Dyer's
That
Yeah,
Death Prophet
I'm not
walking
crazy,
up,
right?
Death Prophet walking up there was just a death sentence. They didn't have the vision up there either, so it's not like they felt, or they should have felt overly confident. I believe the idea was to bait out the Ravage so that Ruby could steal it, maybe? I have no idea what the idea was there. Actually, he's not even level 6, so it doesn't make any sense either. So that was just a mistake.
Yeah, it's
A very
sometimes it's
costly
just one of
mistake
these
as well.
moments where your brain just shuts off
Yep.
for a minute. You have to restart it, and in the meantime, this kind of stuff happens.
Sand King now, 3rd highest in net worth because of these rotations. He's been part of 12, all kills. He's been part of all kills. This Sand King definitely has been creating a lot of space.
Oh, yeah.
And you highlighted already the Blink Dagger. I
came in-
don't really think
they
you
came in
expect like a 12-minute Blink Dagger, right?
Yeah.
On a support Sand King, but
I also don't necessarily expect it on Tiny. Both of them came in big with that.
well, Tiny
Yes.
Tiny is kind of okay because obviously
Yeah.
he's a core and he's not even the primary core because they also have the Phantom Lancer.
Dyer's middle
So
Yeah.
building into that
tower
Blink
is
Dagger
under
is a good
attack.
choice, but yeah, you do have a point, of course. We see a lot of Tinies, even offlane Tinies, first go into like something like the drums and then for the Shadow Blade. But
Yeah.
in this game, makes a lot of sense to go for the Blink because with the Sand King, with the Witch Doctor, they have so much burst potential to just take down everybody on the map. Really,
Yep.
nobody's safe. I mean, they killed the Lone Druid early on. They can kill anybody then. If they kill the Lone Druid, they can kill everybody.
Yeah.
And oh my God. No, Legion Commander scouted out the
Dyer's
smoke.
middle tower is
She
under
she
attack.
didn't break it, but she saw the animation in front of her, so they know
Okay.
that somebody's smoked up, and that just puts them in alert to not defend this tier 1 mid.
Yeah. We can just sort of. Yeah, they're sticking around in the jungle. They just got rid of a ward though, so that jig is up.
Yep. And that's why the
Radiant
Phantom
Lancer
Lancer is
Dyer's
also
middle
committing to his tower
tower
push
is under
then.
attack.
I mean, speaking of Shadow Blade, it's like Legion Commander finished that off before any sort of blade mail or armlet or anything. So just they realize, hey, we need some sort of
Dyer's
initiation,
middle tower
and
is
you're
under
it.
attack.
They don't really have anything else at this point, and
And they're walking
might end
uphill.
up working out. Yeah, there
Tiny.
is another Ravage available, and okay, the duel straight up onto the Tiny. They do bring it down with the help of the Exorcism. Now the Earthsplitter is running out. The Ravage is still coming through in the end, doing a lot of damage in return. Legion Commander will end up dropping as the Phantom Lancer shows out the shiny new defeated blade. Now the Witch Doctor Deathborn again focus on a Death Prophet. This time, well, we'll be able to keep herself alive a little bit longer to secure the counter kill. But at what cost here? Phantom Lancer just continues to go ham. Double kill to round out that particular team fight for the Titan of all people. And another one of these fights that is ill-advised, right? I mean, they got rid of the ward. They knew. They must have known that VGJ Storm knew that they were hanging around in this area.
The thing is, I think Immortals, I mean, yeah, they knew that, that VGJ Storm knew, but they felt confident because they had the ward uphill, and they saw them coming in, and it's a choke point as well, right? Because of the Elder Titan, you have the Death Prophet ultimate, but unfortunately for them, they can't just fight right now. I don't think they can fight against this 5-man lineup right now.
Yeah.
Top lane,
Ravage is
dual
up,
lane,
right? I mean,
committed, dual committed, tossing the Legion Commander away. He has a blink up. Could have blinked out, but I guess he wants to wait until reinforcements come in. But yeah, I think they feel confident enough to take the fight, but they shouldn't take those fights. Right now, VGJ Storm with the Blink Daggers up, they can access the fight from multiple angles. The Phantom Lancer wasn't even there, so or at the beginning, so he didn't actually get hit by the Earthsplitter, so he could just come in from the backlines, make sure he hits everybody. The Sand King, of course, also coming in from an off angle with the Blink Burrow and Blink Epi as well.
Yeah.
It just makes it really difficult to fight, and I think because of the net worth disadvantage, Immortals shouldn't look for 5-on-5 engagements right now. Instead, they should look to spread the map, split the map with the Lone Druid, and whenever they have the Death Prophet ulti available, maybe look towards towers instead of fights like this.
or perhaps duels like this, and isolated targets. They look at the win. Just buying time for the rest of the team to come through. They should still be able to get the kill. The to say that though. I mean, he's pretty damn taken out. The epicenter turn this around. Burst strike gonna hit the DP. Now another press attack available. Try and bail her out. Is it gonna be enough here? Yeah, it looks like just barely, with the Storm also threatening these heroes, but they're not done just yet. Walking up the high ground, another burst strike catches two. The Spirit Siphon, not enough this time. Death Ward, just for good measure. Two down for the price of nothing. Got one. Well, make it three in just a second. Trying to make it to the shrine, but it's not gonna be enough up against 4 heroes. Hey,
Feels like we're watching a completely different team.
it does. It doesn't.
If this amount of aggression and coordination came out from VGJ Storm in the first game, I am very sure they take that as well, because their lineup was so strong early on. But they're making it work with this one. Tidehunter's completely out of control, and again, he's super tanky. He didn't even build into the mech, but he's still so tanky. He survived an onslaught from 4 heroes.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the itemization as well. Medallion makes him very tanky with the armor. Then he has the hood against magic damage, and just a couple of one charges as well made it so that he wasn't falling down. He even was so cocky, not even cocky, but confident enough to just walk back into the fight with like 100 HP left.
He's trusting in his team, and he was not let down at all. And now they're getting Roshan. Takes him a while, even with the medallion picked up by the Tidehunter, but kills from Woodshot to make sure that they're all stay topped up. And now the Aegis and Phantom Lancer. I mean, at the very least, that will secure his Mantis style, or like his next round of items. But I wouldn't be too surprised to see them go a little bit more aggressive on his remaining tier 2s now, because like, is there any reason for them to stop this momentum that Immortals has given them?
Well, you don't really want to overextend right now. Their tower push is still very limited, because Phantom Lancer as a hero doesn't just really mow down towers as quickly as other heroes would with his net worth. And the hero that technically does it, obviously went into the Blink Dagger, right? He is working on the Echo Saber. Actually, I believe he has it. I think it's on the Korea. Yeah, it's on the Korea. He has the Echo Saber, which helps, but it's still not. It's still not that kind of item that just allows them to just mow down towers. So I feel like they just reset, maybe look for a fight, pick off, and then push into towers. Yeah. Really, what stops them? I mean, they can kill everybody. There's no hero that is safe.
Looks like that's the plan. I mean, the smoke up, and they're going towards their side of the jungle. Sesman's got it out. Death Prophet's still sticking around in this area here. If he shows himself, then that is Blink forward. Follow us there from Ultra Instinct with the complete combo. And again, Death Ward. Stanky just wants to throw that out every single time this is Death Prophet, by the looks of it.
And for VGJ Storm, you know, or rather, look at this Death Prophet. Look at her item build. Drums, hood. Building up to tank up, but it's still not enough. There's so much magic damage and physical damage out coming from VGJ Storm.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't know how they can really handle this. They need to avoid fights as much as possible. They have to give up this tower and probably 2 towers, potentially. I don't think they should be able. They should try and fight this. But the way they're posturing themselves almost makes me think they want to fight this. Oh, Rubik. Oh, Rubik.
It does have Sandstorm, but it's not gonna make a difference. Not on Stomp on the Earth, might make them think twice about continuing, but hey, guess what? We have
they can just commit.
Restoration. Yeah, I mean, they still have Ravage. Right? They haven't had to use that at all for like the past 2-3 minutes.
I mean, why would they? Why would they need to? Right?
Yeah,
they can get those kills with every other spell as well. The Ravage is also that one ability that pretty much forces Immortals not to take fights outside of their base.
Yeah.
Because with Ravage up, they can't initiate into that, and they don't even have. Gold for me. Look, if you're fighting against the Ravage, there's a couple of ways to approach it. Either you just instantly kill the Tidehunter before he gets to use it, or you sustain through it. They can't do either.
Yeah.
So they really just have to avoid these fights as much as possible, and that's what they've been trying to do at least. Lone Druid been split pushing top, trying to farm up his Radiance, but it's not easy. And right now, VGJ Storm is hitting all these timings right now, looking towards taking the last outer tower as well. Phantom Lancer, despite his net worth, doesn't really feel that strong because he only, quote-unquote, has 2 items. Yasha, Diffusal Blade. But with the rest of his team backing him up, that's enough, and oh, that's a misstep.
I
didn't expect the gem.
The Ravage.
What a Ravage.
Onto more up in front. Epicenter being channeled up. Burst
Ravage is stolen.
Available, but looks at it. Ravage still. It didn't just go. Just didn't go for a burst strike past the tower. But Ravage is stolen. All right, this could lead into something later, maybe. but I don't even want to
thing is-
call it completely right now because
The thing is, if you're VGJ Storm, you could just wait out the Ravage
Dire's middle
that was
tower
stolen by
is under
Rubik,
attack.
right? And you kind of have
Yeah.
to wait out the Ravage anyway, so you have to have it available again.
it's 3 minutes though on the steal.
Yeah, and you can just also, I mean, I'm not sure how afraid you really are. It's a Rubik without a blink.
Yeah, I mean
How is he going to get in a good position to drop like a 4-man Ravage?
that's what I was just want to say. I mean how and the Ravage is only as good as the follow-up, right? I mean they didn't even get too many kills off that Ravage because there was no follow-up, right? Case in point right there, and that makes it like a quote-unquote bad play, which they can afford at this point because they didn't lose anything themselves, and they're in a position where they still have a decent amount of map control to be able to wait it out without giving it up. But what's the follow-up there for the Ravage from the Rubik? It's the Exorcism, Earthsplitter maybe. That is something, but unless it hits perfectly, you're not gonna get too many important kills.
This is this continues to be a very rough game for
Dire's middle tower
Immortals.
is under
They
attack.
haven't really been able to use Exorcism in a long time now. Certainly not to take any objectives. They're looking towards this tier 2 bottom, with the Lundred setting up this wave and potentially committing the Exorcism for this.
Yeah.
Right now, they can't look towards fighting. It's just not possible, really. Maybe they might be looking to threaten this tier 2 tower and maybe hoping for somebody to come in and defend it and try and then use their Ravage for it,
Dire's
but
top tower
I
is under
doubt that
attack.
VGJ Storm would look to contest this at all.
Yeah.
That
Radiant's
said,
bottom
Aegis did
tower is
now
under
just
attack.
expire, so this is a much better situation to fight than a minute ago when they did have the Aegis, I suppose. It's still not ideal though, especially with the Tiny already
Radiant's
clubbing
bottom
that tier
tower
3
is
tower.
under attack.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower has
They have to
fallen.
respond. They do get it to tier 2 in exchange for a little bit of damage. That's probably the best that they can hope for here, and it's not bad, like as far as trades go. And also secured the Radiance for the Bear, finally coming out
That's
here
really
24
important,
minutes
and they're
in.
smoking up with it, or not necessarily with it, but basically smoking up, trying to look for a fight outside their base, trying to catch them off guard.
Dire's top
But the
tower
Sand King's
is under
positioning,
attack.
and even the Tidehunter's positioning, he's the first one to tank it, and I mean we've seen time and time again, that's not a hero that can just burst down.
They're being channeled here. They want to turn this around. Ultimate already going with the Ravage coming in first from the Tidehunter here. Rubik immediately killed before he can even get his off. Now the Earthsplitter coming through though, trying to turn this around. Phantomlance dodging in and just looking for more targets. Set up by the Sand King. Another double burst strike. 3-for-1 trade. They only lose the support and not done yet. There's another one. Set him up, knock him down, time and time again, and they don't even try again. GG will play.
Good call. That would not have been possible anymore. They lost control of this game very early on, really, in the laning stage already, when the rotations from the SK and the Witch Doctor were just on point, really. They made sure to create the space and just enable their own course. And then, of course, also the Tiny itemizing correctly. That Blink Dagger was actually really crucial and clutch as well. But that laning stage already, yeah, they kind of lost the mid lane, right? In a way where the Legion Commander was just out farming the Phantom Lancer, but they made sure to have the supports rotate on time so that the Phantom Lancer could recuperate. The Tidehunter had a free lane, not necessarily a free lane, but he dominated his lane. And the Tiny wasn't really slowed down much in his lane either. So once again, stable lanes do set up a really strong mid game, and this time around, VGJ Storm made use of that mid game as well. Like their rotations at one point, they kept applying pressure. And yeah, Immortals tried to split the map and tried to split push. You could tell the Lundred was always on the side lanes. But with 2 blinks this early on, impossible, really.
Yeah, VGJ Storm, you said it right. They were all over the map from minute 1. We were talking about this 2v2 support. Like it kind of kept them occupied, but they won these exchanges. Right? They got the kills on Fabi a couple more times than they really would have liked. And all of this leads into a phase where that Rubik, that Elder Titan, they are not the ideal heroes to fight up against them. Right? They cannot really have there's only so much they can fix with good positioning and choke points with the Elder Titan. Right?
And that's what we mentioned in the draft. When they fall behind, they can feel like dead weight. Actually, the Elder Titans still did a really good job at making sure to control the fight and control some of the heroes and being annoying. But at the end of the day, yeah, you drop an Earth Splitter through all heroes. But if all those heroes are tanky and just super farmed, they don't really care. An Tidehunter with his item, with his items, does he really care if he gets Earth Splitter? No, he just sits there and takes it.
Yeah.
And similarly, yeah, you get Ravage, but Rubik is so far behind that he doesn't get to use it. We saw it. They immediately bursted him down. They didn't even defocus him. That was just the, you know, he was actually at the edge of the epicenter as well. But because it's a Rubik that far behind, he wasn't able to position himself better. He had to be up front as well because he needed to walk in with the Ravage.
Yeah. Well, didn't quite happen for Immortals, so that means VGJ Storm. They tie up the series 1-1 with the Stomp going the other way. Forcing out a game 3 should be a good one. Normally that's the way these games go, right? Stomp one way, Stomp the other way. And then game 3 is a bit of a barn burner. We'll see if that's the case here as well in game number 3 coming up next. Stay tuned.